We are back. We are going to downsize today and use this scrap piece of Tupelo that I have to make a miniature version of a kind of a hybrid frog hula popper. I've been pretty happy with one that I made last year and caught a pretty decent amount of panfish on it, so I want to do the same thing this time around, but clean it up a little bit now that I've got some actual power tools. But we're going to go through, use this small little piece of scrap Tupelo and make what you can kind of see here is a shape of what looks like a classic hula popper with a little bit of a twist, the way that I will incorporate the frog legs slash tail, however you want to consider it, but I call them frog legs. So let's do it. All right, we're gonna get out the Dremel before we do anything else. It is super rough, as you can kind of tell. I'm gonna sand, you'll see me sand a decent amount, but I'll do most of that off camera to prevent from boring you. But you're gonna see this little dot here is actually what I'm gonna carve out. I'm gonna use my Dremel drill, and I'm just gonna go straight through it before I do anything. This is actually gonna where I basically put the frog legs. So we'll go through that real quick. All right, now it will just be a lot of sanding before we get back to using that Dremel to carve out that concave cup where you'll hear the pop of the water. But this part is not going to be the most exciting, but I'm just going to take some 120 grit sandpaper and we're just going to get to sanding to make this the shape of like a small frog. The general shape is pretty close to being done. If there's one thing you can not do enough of in bait making is sanding, but at some point you just got to stop because you just don't, it's never going to be perfect. But this is still pretty symmetrical from the top down. A little bit of a froggy shape, but the biggest thing is having this giant face. This is what we're going to work with next. I'm going to need to make a concave cup into that, so just going to use the Dremel and we're going to start to kind of shave out that shape, and then I'll use a Forstner bit down below to open up a little bit of space down here, and then we're going to put a small amount of lead, not a ton but enough just to make sure that this always, well, the line tie and the hook hangers will make that happen anyways, but it's always going to land belly down. So obviously, sorry, we got a bunch of trucks rolling through today. So that's what we're working with next. So let's hit that front cavity and make the cup line tie area. All right, we will now going to just want to clean that up with some 220 hand sanding. So that's what I'm going to work on next, just 220 grit, nice and smooth, clean it all up, go from there. Is shaped up pretty good. Next, we're going to take this 1/16 inch bit and go middle of the body and belly below the lower third of the bowl down here, or the cup. I want it to be below the midline, so every time that this sits and you pull the line, it's going to force it to tilt and pop through the water like that. It's still angled for that reason anyways, but it just helps push that through so that you're going to get a good loud obnoxious push of water. So the reason that I'm going to go with the belly, start with the 1/16 inch bit, then I'm going to go with the 3/8 inch Forstner bit to get some lead in there. But this gives me a good place to put the line tie and the hook, the hook holder down there. So that's next. So front area, line tie right in the middle, down below the center line, a little area plus that deeper cavity so we can put the hook hanger in there, and that way it will kind of seal itself. And this leaves these little hole is where we will use the, what I'll show you is actually I'll use the we'll just save that for later. We're gonna just use a little quick 5-minute epoxy to glue these into place. You can actually tell that one's pretty fastened already based on that cavity we cut in there, which is good. Okay, and I have a lead gun, or a lead pot, but something a little different is, so I'm told you guys in a video prior that I'm actually a track and field coach. And so if anybody knows anything about track and field, in the event called the shot put or the weight throw, inside, let me just show you, inside a shot or an indoor shot or an indoor weight is thousands, I mean hundreds of thousands of these tiny pieces of lead. Wonderful for bait making. So thank you to broken weight that I'm able to get about 20 pounds worth of this stuff. Going to do super glue and baking soda on the top. While we let that one dry, I'll just show you one that I had been working on that is pretty close to being ready to be painted too. So I'm going to go out with 2 today. Hopes to catch some fish, but nice concave plop ready to happen. That's what we will use for the legs. And then this one I had kind of hastily put the line tie in, and unfortunately it's a little off center, but that's all right. Our hook hanger, and so it's gonna have a decent hookup ratio. It's just one treble hook anyway. So most of these fish, if they're either too small, they're not gonna get it in their mouth. If they're too big, they're gonna take the whole thing in. So here we go. All right, switched up my lenses real quick, so maybe we can get a little closer. I've always used a wide angle lens, but this time I'm just going back to the classic. I think this is 18 to 45 or 18 to 55. So hopefully you'll get a better, clearer picture. So zoom in and do some manual adjustments. That's what we're sitting at. And we're gonna get to painting. Around here, there is a lot of bullfrogs, string peepers, but I think we're just gonna go kind of with the classic bullfrog look. So we're gonna do both of these, classic bullfrog look, and I think that'll work really, really well. All right, next step, this is something that I kind of do, and this is just, you know, maybe, I don't know, my most popular video I put up on YouTube so far is just basically making stencils out of Play-Doh, which I thought was pretty simple idea, but I've also used it for poppers, and the reality is just an area that I don't want paint to be. I can always cover it up with a little bit of Play-Doh. People have used, they say there's a masking, liquid mask, which works well too, but so I've already heat set this. I'm going to cover the entire mouth in the area that I don't want any other of the greens to come in or whatever. So basically try to do this as clean as I'd like it to be. So this is going to be the area that I just don't want any of this new paint, whether it's going to be the green, the yellow, the dark green, the umber, none of that. I don't want it in the mouth. So that'll prevent it, which once you're done, just slips right on out. So next step, we are going to go in with a pearlized lime green. That up, the little wicked golden yellow. And this is just going to be the underbelly, chin area. To get it to do that darker, earthier color, we're just going to use wicked moss green. Wicked burnt umber. Mix it with the moss green so you get a really nice bronze. And it's equal, almost equal parts 1-to-1, or whatever's left of your moss green. Just spray that through your gun. Mix it, mix it, mix it so it comes out to be a dark, dark brown, but it'll look sharp. All right, let's zoom out a bit so we can get this in focus. And there it is. So we're gonna gently, literally just take that out, and we got ourselves a base popper. I like to paint the eyes right over here on the side. I do that just with a small Q-tip and paint. I'll show that in a second. But we're getting pretty close to doing a 30-minute epoxy clear coat on this. And we'll be able to fish with it this afternoon. So. There we have it. One last heat set, 30-minute epoxy clear coat. Might pearlize one of them, and then we'll show you the frog legs. All right. They are now in drying mode. All right, we got the clear coat done. And now we're gonna have to clean up that little hole that we have a bunch of epoxy in right now. And we're gonna get to putting in the frog legs. For our frog legs, I use jig skirts. So these are everyday jig skirts that you can get from replacement wise from any of your sports stores. But I pretty much just go with natural frog looking colors. So these are chartreuse. We've got some actual natural. I got a whole bag of them right here. But I like to just kind of mix and match. It's not really super crucial at this point. And it's not a super, I don't know, don't have this process perfected, but I pretty much just try to enter through one, pull it, and we'll enter a whole bunch of different colors. The idea, again, is just to get enough to make it look like there's legs. You don't need to have, like frogs have a ton of these pieces in there, and so sometimes it's overkill. Like I just want to have the presentation as well as it just helps with the buoyancy. But I'll probably double the amount, maybe go with 8 to 10 of these, and then we'll glue them in and we'll be done. I'm going to pull them out maybe 1/4 of an inch to the right side. and then basically go through and cover that section that I want to be in the center. Pull it through a few times all the way through, and then back, back, and that. Make sure it's even enough to your liking. That'll work right there. So I'm going to finish up the other one. The last bit, just to make sure that I have sealed that section, is I will just drop a dab of that super fast thin super glue. That way, integrity, entire wood leg area is good. So we are pretty much set. We'll get these tied on and get a thumbnail. We'll get to the lake. We made it to one of my local fun little lakes. It is in the process of basically a ton of weeds growing like everywhere in Nebraska. So algae bloom, weeds everywhere. So it's been kind of tough with shore access, but we're gonna make it work today. I know this lake has a ton of bass, some good sized bluegill, and some mixed in catfish and some other things around here, but I don't have a GoPro right now. Mine's dead, so we're gonna prop up the big camera. We're gonna let it run, and we're just gonna see if we can get into anything. And I'll kind of show some highlighted action of the old frog. So here we go. All right, we're gonna do a quick video with my phone, show you the action of it. You can see that great pop, a lot of commotion, a lot of sound. Exactly what you want in a popping frog. Oh, there it is. Yeah, buddy. Right off the top. That's what I'm talking about. Slurped it right off the top. I'm sure you couldn't even see that. I'm gonna zoom back or sit back myself, but this is a good like 9-10 inch bass. Action on this thing is pretty nice. What I'll do is I'll take my phone and record a little bit, put it in right now, because I know my big camera, surprisingly enough, for some reason is gonna die. So, well, we got one. If I can get it unhooked, we're good. I need my pliers. There we go. One on the frog, popping frog, topwater. Tons of noise, tons of commotion. Nice start to the day. If I get more, we'll show you. Back in focus. So yeah, caught the one bass. I think it was out for maybe 30 minutes. It started to rain pretty good. Since I only had the big camera, I didn't want to get that super wet. So we ended that fishing mission real quick, but I'll probably take this back out here shortly. I need to get my get a new GoPro. I think my first Hero 7 kind of crapped out on me. So next agenda, get a new GoPro so I can get some better footage on the water. But if you like this video, give me a thumbs up down below. Hit that link, subscribe. We appreciate any support of the channels. Amazing. But I think I'm gonna do the next couple videos more of a panfish style. I mean, this is the time of year where you're gonna see a lot of bluegill bedding. So I think I'm gonna make some jointed small swim baits, just some panfish lures. So stick with it. Stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next one.
Peace.